Hey y'all, we're back for
Hey,
part
we're back.
two. Did we leave y'all wanting more? I bet we did.
I hope
So,
so.
I hope so. Mm.
A
So,
lot of gems dropped.
I think the last question that we had was talking about like what we need to do when
Hmm.
people like are disrespectful toward like our boundaries and like what do you
Hmm.
do? And so I am very team like we've had these
Yeah,
conversations like there's
yeah,
nothing more that I can really do. So
yeah,
might be time, cut them off. And so
yeah,
I would say I don't really know if a conversation of, hey, we're not going to be friends anymore, or hey, like, I don't think I should come around as much anymore. I don't really know how
yeah,
effective those conversations are because if someone
yeah,
already is not being receptive to you in a restorative conversation, I'm not really
yeah.
sure how well they're going to take, oh, bye.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I
What
totally
would you
agree
do?
with
Yeah.
you. I'm with
Mhm.
you on the it's time to cut it, cut it, cut it. It might be
Bye.
time to cut it, okay?
Yeah.
Because we were saying earlier, when you've already been assertive, you've already verbalized what are your needs. You've
Mhm.
already identified what the issues are. And that
Yeah.
person keeps trying and trying and trying, then yeah, there's a consequence, and the consequence might
Yeah.
be cutting it. The consequence
Yeah.
might be, okay, I'm going to limit my interactions with you. So it
Mhm.
really just depends on the person and
Yeah.
what they think is best for themselves. For
Yeah.
me personally, I'm ready to cut off. I've done
Yeah.
it before and I will
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah.
Now, there may be instances in the past where, now that I'm older,
Mhm.
I realized like I could have handled it differently, that I
Yeah.
could have maybe more verbalized my feelings and my thoughts
Mhm.
about the situation. But if you feel like you need to cut it off, do that. If you feel like you need limited interaction, do that. Or
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could do other than those two.
Mhm.
But you do what is best for you. And that's all that
Mhm.
matters. What is best for you. It's
Mhm.
not about
Mhm.
anybody else. It's not about what anybody else going to say, what anybody else is
Mhm.
going to think. It's about
Mhm.
you. And I know,
Yeah.
and this is another thing too when it comes to boundaries. I've heard this a
Yeah.
lot. I've heard a lot of people say, well, I don't want to be selfish. Boundaries is not about being selfish.
Mm.
Boundaries is about being selfful. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Because if you don't
Uh-huh.
take care of you and your well being, who is going to
Hello.
do it for you? Not the other
Exactly.
people that keep trampling all over your boundaries.
That part.
You
That
you
part.
got to put you first when it comes
Mhm.
to this. You got to put you first. So at first it
Mhm.
might feel weird. You might feel guilty, and maybe that's where the guilt come in. You're feeling
Mhm.
selfish, but you
Mhm.
have to take care of your well-being.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to do that for you. Just like
No.
your healing and your boundaries is your responsibility. It's
Yeah.
nobody else's responsibility but yours.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think like since you brought that up, like how it's really like about you and like all of those things and you have to like really stand on I made this decision, I'm gonna do this. Now, since we're talking about family,
Yeah.
a lot of times when people start having like these harsh
Yeah.
boundaries and we're like, I'm not gonna like deal with you like that anymore, you
Yeah.
have that one family member who
Yes.
calls somebody up and is like, now why you
Yes.
not talking to your cousin? Come on over here. Let's all talk. Why are you doing that? Don't be doing that.
Yeah.
This is a trap, y'all, because a lot of times,
Yes.
we want to have like these conversations again that have no resolution. We just want to keep
Yes.
sweeping stuff off the rug in the name of family. Like now,
Right.
we are family. We don't treat each other like that. Are we gonna
Right.
ignore that I wasn't trying to cut them off. I was trying to
Yes.
establish a boundary. And when
Right.
this happens, you still have to stand on your own. And you have to
Right.
say, Granny, I love you. But
Right.
Granny, I
Yeah.
can't. I literally can't. no more.
Right.
Like
That
I
ain't
don't want to
it.
do that. Like
Right.
unless we're really going to talk about why I'm
Mm.
uncomfortable with them in the first place. And we
Right.
do this so often. Like
Yes.
it is so like enriched in culture, like family, family,
Yeah.
family. Like we don't want to be separated. Like people out here
Right.
dying. Like you just
Right.
come on. Like we gotta be together.
Right.
Okay, I'm down for the collectiveness, right?
Yes.
But also, don't disrespect me.
Right. Right.
Like I
So
shouldn't
this.
have to push things
Right.
under the rug because
Right.
we cousins.
Right. So let's be honest, right? So we're going to get a little
Mhm.
deeper into family, right?
Mhm. Of course.
Just because we're related, just because we share blood, don't mean we family,
Mhm.
boo. Especially if you're not acting like a family member.
Oh,
That part, right? You actually get to choose your family. You don't get to choose who you're
yeah,
related to, but you get to
yeah,
choose your family. So if there's
yeah,
family members or your whole family ain't acting right, you might need to reevaluate your relationship with your family.
yeah,
I know for me
yeah.
personally, I was adopted. And
Mhm.
my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, my mama's parents raised me. I mean, I thank
Mhm.
them because I wouldn't be who I am today. And I am one of seven siblings. My birth mama
Mm.
had seven of us. I'm the second
Mm.
oldest.
Mm.
And when I got wind of the disrespect that they had for our grandmother, that's a
Mm.
problem. Now,
Yeah.
I can admit, I'm going to be grown about it. Yes, I feel like I could have handled it differently. I
Mhm.
could have had a conversation, but at that point,
Mhm.
so many things were happening before that because I
Yeah.
was just on, well, they're family and they love me and I love them and it's okay and my I didn't have any boundaries.
Yeah.
And that one last thing was it for me. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to love y'all from a distance. Cause
Hello.
what y'all aren't gonna do is disrespect this woman who has raised me, who is your
Yeah.
maternal grandmother. You will not disrespect her. My birth mama didn't disrespect her. I'm not gonna let y'all do that. Not on my watch.
That part.
Not on my watch. I almost sound
Not
like
on my watch.
Iyanla right
Ayanla.
now,
Yep.
but not on my watch, honey. So
Yeah.
I love y'all,
Yeah.
and it's been some years. I've learned to forgive. I've even learned to forgive myself for cutting them off.
Mhm.
But
I thought you was
I'm
about to
gonna
say for
have to.
cutting up.
Well, well, that too. But I'm learning that I do forgive them and I can love them from a distance. And
Yeah.
forgiving does not mean that I forgot. And it
Hello.
doesn't mean that I have to just bring you back into my life.
Hello.
Forgiveness for me may look like I forgive you and I love you and I want the
Mhm.
best for you. But right
Mhm.
now, in this point in my life, we ain't clicking. So,
Mm.
I mean, we might click later on, but right now we're not clicking
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
boundaries are being trampled on, you know.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
it I'm sure there's some people
Mhm.
out there that might have the same story. You want to have that relationship with your siblings. You want to have that
Yeah.
relationship with your family, but
Yeah.
you might need some space because they
Hello.
ain't doing right.
Hello.
Yeah,
And that is okay. And that's okay. And I think
yeah,
like you really have to get to a place like within yourself that you're like, you know what?
hmm,
I'm gonna say what I need to say, and then
yeah,
however this person decides how to respond, that's their
yeah.
responsibility at that point.
That's
You
right.
only have to be
That's right.
responsible for yourself.
That's right.
That's it.
That's
That's all
right.
you can do. That's all you can do
Yeah,
is be responsible for yourself.
right. And I
Is
think
it
that
going
goes
to be
back to,
uncomfortable? Yes. Yeah.
yeah, it was uncomfortable. I think for like
Mhm.
just speaking on me, my heart broke that I had to make a decision like that.
Yeah.
My heart literally broke and I was grieving. I was grieving the relationship.
Yeah.
But after the smoke clears, because there's some smoke, you
Mhm.
know, I was able to just really sit down and do some self-reflection and I realized, you know what? I'm not stressed.
Y-
I'm
mhm.
not anxious. I'm not
Mhm.
holding my tongue no more.
Mm.
I
I'm
don't
glad
have
that
to
you
do
said
that
that.
no more. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know?
And I'm glad
Yeah.
you said that. Like, I don't have to hold my tongue anymore. You know, if you have a have to set a boundary with someone, if you have to be very political in how you answer questions,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and you have to be like, if I say it this way, where is this gonna go?
Right.
Are they gonna be offended? Are they gonna? Is this gonna snowball into something else? If you have to overthink when you're talking to somebody, that's a problem.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
problem.
Yeah. That's a huge
Mm.
problem when you feel like you
Mhm.
can't be yourself
Mhm.
with your family.
That
That
hurts.
is a huge problem. That's
That
why I keep saying
hurts.
you feel that.
You
It feels
do.
uncomfortable
You
when you
do.
can't be yourself, when
Mhm.
you feel like you can't talk to them. That's a
Mhm.
problem. Something
Yeah.
needs to change,
Yeah. And
and
I
it might
think
take some time.
and I
Yeah.
think that even comes with people and how they joke. They joke
Hmm.
about your past trauma. They joke
Yeah.
about past situations that you've had. And people are like, "Oh, we just playing with you." Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to actually say, "You know what? We're adults now. Let's not play
Right.
like that no more."
Right.
Let's actually not do that. Because
Yeah.
some people, like, let's say, like, you were the kid that was always getting in trouble, like when you were
Hmm.
younger, right?
Yeah.
But now, like, you're a respectable, like, young person, like, you're doing the things,
Yeah.
like, sometimes people still want to look at you through one lens. And it's okay
Right.
to say, I'm not that person anymore. Like, stop
Right.
doing that. And
Right.
I think that happens a lot, like, when we visit people for holidays. Because what do? We reminisce. We talk about old stuff. So sometimes
Yeah.
talking about old stuff is triggering.
It
Because
is
what if
very
you were
triggering.
really in a dark place, like in your life?
Yeah.
Or what if, like, the person who was always criticizing you when you were younger, that relationship is very volatile for you, and you don't like bringing that up? Like, it's
Right.
okay to say, I want to do that. And we
Right.
are not saying, like, when you have to, like, do these boundaries, everything is
Yeah.
going to take, like, this really, like, meditation hour where you are
Yeah.
jotting down notes and all of these things. Sometimes you can do a quick little turnaround and say, let's not talk about that no more,
Yes.
and keep it moving. Because I
Yes.
think sometimes when we get overly wordy or when we try to over explain ourselves, we get lost in our own words.
Oh
And we're
yeah.
like, what was even the point I was trying to make? I don't know.
Right.
But now I'm mad, now I'm uncomfortable, and all of these things. So
Yeah.
it is okay to give someone some really quick feedback and keep it moving. And if they
Yeah.
want to have a follow up conversation with you, be like, okay,
Yeah.
I just don't like when you say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then keep it moving.
Yeah. Like set yourself free. It is
Please.
time to set yourself free. Don't
Mhm.
wait for 2023. Don't wait for 2024. Don't even wait for 2025. Set
No.
yourself free
Yeah.
today. Set yourself free
Today.
now.
Yeah.
You're going to feel
Yeah.
a lot better. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you don't want to do it. But
Okay.
set yourself free. It's
Yeah.
okay to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but I talk to this person
Hmm.
all the time and they're not going to reach out to me no more. What was y'all talking about in the first place? Was y'all
That
talking
part.
about anything that you really like
Yeah.
to talk about?
Right.
Or were you just a participant? Because
Right.
maybe you need to find other people to add into your village that serve you and you can serve them in a way that's comfortable
That's
for you.
right. That is right. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times, like, we really face life as if we are in elementary school and we're trying to invite people to our birthday parties. Like, oh, the more
Yeah.
people I know, the more people who will show up for me. Baby, just because your attendance list is long does not mean
Right.
everybody likes you on that list. That means
Okay.
they know you. That means they know your name. They don't know you, they know your
Right.
name. And
Right.
you don't have to have people in your
Yeah.
life that just know your name.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
Right.
and let that truth set you free too. Like, you don't
Right.
have to have 10 best friends. First of all, how do you have that much time to have 10 best friends?
Right. Right.
You
Right.
have
And
you have vulnerable,
right.
legitimate, non-surface level relationships with 10 people.
Right.
How?
And are they really for you? Because and we have to bring this up because this just happened. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've been keeping up with the story behind Shanquilla Robinson and going over
Mhm.
to Mexico and
Mhm.
being beaten by
Mhm.
so-called friends. Like
Mhm.
those people were not for her because no
No.
real friend will put you in any situation like that.
Nope. No.
No
No.
situation like that. That
No.
was terrible what happened to her. Really terrible. And I
Yeah.
really my thoughts and prayers are with her and her family because that's a lot.
Same.
And especially around the holidays, that's a lot for any family to deal with. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like when you think about that, now I feel like there are
Hmm.
signs in every friendship. Like,
Yeah.
you know if one of your friends is low key a mean girl or a
Oh
mean
yeah.
person.
Oh
You
yeah.
know that. Because
Yeah.
there's certain things that they say when
Hmm.
it's like it's not funny. You're mean. There's
Yeah.
something about you that's mean. And you
Yes.
know when some of your friends are jealous of you.
Oh yeah. You know
You
when
know what
family are jealous of you too.
hello. Because
Yep.
every joke has a tinge, a little tiny bit of truth in it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you acting brand new since you got that new job. I see you though. That's not funny. And then they'll be like, but you can't give
Yeah.
me no ride. You
Right.
you be you be real stingy with that money. Like,
Right. Right.
what are
Or
you
every
trying?
time
What are
they
you
see you, when you gonna give me some money?
when you gonna help me out? You don't have to do that. You
Yeah.
actually don't have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they poke fun at different things that you're going through in your life. Like,
Yeah.
you always got a new man on your hand, don't you? That's not
Yeah.
funny. Like, I have
No.
trauma. But
Right.
like, they make fun of things that are very serious to you because they are
Yeah.
trying to hit your vulnerable spots. Because
Yeah.
maybe something in your life, like, you show strength in a
Hmm.
different way that they could never. So they can never. And so we
Right.
question things like, look at
Yeah.
her, looking confident. Let me say something. And sometimes we don't even realize that
Yeah.
we're doing that because there is so much
Right.
hurt within us that at this point we're just recycling it.
Yes.
We don't even know. We don't even realize
Yes.
that we have not processed
Yeah.
a lot of things that have happened to us. But
Yeah. But you know
you
what?
know when either your friend is going through something
Right.
or you know that they're not the
Right.
person that they're really presenting to you.
That's right. Like it's so important, and I think I've had people do this homework, and this could be something that y'all can do yourselves. Really check in with yourself.
Mhm.
Really check in and really reevaluate your relationships with your family, your relationship with your friends, whoever. Reevaluate
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Really look at that person, maybe do a pros and cons list. Your pros are the positives. Are they supportive? Are they there for you? Um,
Mhm.
Write down the cons. The cons are the negatives. If them cons are outweighing the pros, you need to
Mhm.
reevaluate that relationship. Whether that's a family, friend,
Mhm.
whoever, you need to reevaluate that relationship. Because
Mhm.
if the energy ain't right, I don't want it.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
want it. If your energy
Mhm.
is not coming correct, I don't want it. And you can even feel
Yeah.
that too. You can feel
Yeah.
somebody's energy towards you.
Oh, for
You can
sure.
feel that.
And I think that's actually a really good point. Like, I think oftentimes we don't realize that there are different types of relationships in our lives
Mhm.
that call for
Mhm.
different boundaries. So for like
Yes.
example, there are some relationships where you are the main one giving and they just take.
Yes.
Whereas in other relationships, you're getting all of it and you're just
Yeah.
getting it. You're just getting it. They're just giving to you. They're pouring into your life. And there
Yeah.
are some, it's an equal balance. All
Right.
of those different types of relationships call for different boundaries. And sometimes we get so frustrated and we're like,
Hmm.
oh, I really need to set this boundary with somebody because
Right.
they never give me advice. I'm always giving them advice. Like they never like are there for me and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Maybe that is the format of that relationship. So maybe
Right.
you need to take a step back and realize, oh, this is my taking friend or this is my
Right.
taking family member. This is
Right.
why I I never get anything back from them because this has
Right.
always been the relationship I have with them. So that's
Right.
another thing that you have to consider when you're talking about boundaries. Like,
Oh yeah.
what is the style of this relationship?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to realize for yourself, well, you know what? This relationship might be fine. Maybe I just don't go overtime. Like
Yeah.
maybe I just don't put in overtime for this relationship because it's too much. Maybe I
Right.
need to be in more relationships where people pour into me, and that might in
Exactly.
itself solve your issue right there. Because
Right.
if 99% of your relationships are you giving,
Hmm.
that's a
That's a
problem.
problem. Oh
That's a
yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for some people
Hmm.
who are capable and can give back to you, then yes, put in a boundary
Yeah.
and say, you know what, I need you to give some back to me. But
Right.
if people don't have that capacity, sometimes
Yeah.
it's really hard to expect that from them. Because
Yeah.
low key, some of your friends that you giving advice to, you might not want their advice.
Right.
You might be the best giver in this situation because
Right.
they might be like, let's slash his tires, let's do this.
That's flash
Like
the tires.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that's not the type of person who should be giving in your relationship. And
Right.
so I think that's super important. Like when you're thinking of like these family relationships, is think about
Yeah.
the format of that relationship and
Oh
see,
yeah.
do I need to have a level of acceptance about what
Right.
this relationship is, or is
Yeah.
this a boundary issue?
Right. Yeah, I
Mhm.
I totally agree with that. Just like, a little earlier I was talking about energy, right? So how
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying being mindful of people's energy, being mindful of people's advice, being mindful of people's prayers, because not everybody intentions are good intentions. Because
Mm.
family members, there's friends that gonna pray over you and not have your best interests at hand. You
Hello,
got to be very careful.
hello.
You got to be very careful. But that
Yes,
takes
you do.
you being present within
Mhm.
yourself to be able to recognize these things. If you
Yeah.
just sit back and
Mhm.
just watch, don't say nothing, just watch.
Yeah.
You will see a lot of things just sitting and watching.
Mhm. Mhm.
You will see a whole
Mhm.
lot. You will see a
Mhm.
whole lot, and it's going to
Yes,
make
you
you
will.
uh, make some better
Yeah.
decisions
Some
for
better
yourself.
decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think like I know it's so cliche, but like really like
Mhm.
when you're having a hard time, that's when you will really know who your real friends are
Right.
and who your like real family members are. Because I do
Yeah,
think that, if you have like a circle like within your family
yeah.
and like these are your people, you will feel a friendship in that as well.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
your family members should feel like a friend. They should feel like
Yeah,
better than a friend, someone that you can trust, someone that you can be vulnerable with, and all of those things. If they see that you are down on your like just
yeah,
your butt, like everything is a struggle, like you can barely get yourself out of bed because you just don't know what's going to happen.
yeah,
Watch
yeah.
them. Watch to
Right.
see what they do. Are they criticizing you? Like, are they
Yeah.
saying, dang, you still ain't got a job yet? How about send me some? Send me something to apply for.
Right.
Like at
Right.
some point, like you really have to watch that.
Yeah.
And I think that circles back around to knowing a person's capacity. Like sometimes you
Yes.
can't expect something from somebody because they ain't
That's
got it
true.
in them. They
That's
ain't got it
true.
in them. They can't.
That
They
is so
literally
true.
cannot because they have not done the work,
Right.
or they don't want to do the work yet.
Right.
They don't
Right.
want to do it
So
yet.
so if you're in need of love, right? If you're in need of a hug, and you have a daddy that struggles with that, and you keep asking for that, they're not able to give that to you. That
No.
might be because they've experienced trauma. That could be
Mhm.
because they weren't taught how to do that. And it's not
Yeah.
an excuse for their
Mhm.
behavior, but at least we have some understanding of, okay, it's hard for my daddy to show me love because he was in the army and he went to Iraq and he was traumatized,
Mhm.
and he has
Mhm.
PTSD, you
Yeah.
know, and you
Yeah.
keep asking and asking, he's not able to give you that. And
Yeah.
so it's you
Yeah.
coming to terms with there's certain family members that are not going to be able to give you what you need. And you have to come to
For
terms with
sure.
that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a tough reality. That's a
Mhm.
tough reality. And it's
Yeah.
not about settling. It's not about saying, "Well, I guess I don't deserve this because this person isn't able to do it for me." No, it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's it's saying like they don't have the capacity, so I have to shift.
Yeah.
And maybe there's
Yeah.
something else that they could provide you. Granted, it's not a
Right.
hug, but maybe
Right.
they can converse with you. Maybe they can
Right.
have a really good conversation with you, and
Right.
that warms your heart in a way that
Yeah.
feels almost better than a hug. Like,
Right. Right.
you have to sometimes think outside of the box, and you might find, wow, what I wanted wasn't a hug; it was emotional intimacy with this
Right.
person. And
Right.
we have to get to a level, and that's why, again, it's so important that you do your
Yeah.
work. You got to do
Yes.
your work first, because
Yeah.
again, this process of creating the boundary is within you. It's
That's
nobody else's
right.
journey. It's all on you to do that.
That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Andrea, we got one more question, and it
Okay.
is, if you could give the people advice on how to create emotional boundaries with a family
Mhm.
member, what are your top three tips?
My top three tips. Okay. So my first one: be realistic. So
Yes.
you have got to decide, like, when within yourself, like, am
Yeah.
I going to be able to uphold this forever? Like, don't have an end date on this. Like,
Right.
don't say like my emotional boundaries are going to end with this person like in
Yeah.
2025. No, you have to be willing to do this forever. Like, you are changing the blueprint of your entire relationship. So be very
Yeah.
realistic with yourself. And
Yeah.
like, if this is a person that, like, if they are in danger and they want to call you at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
if you're putting in the place, you can't call
Right.
me after midnight. If any of your boundaries have a loophole, that's going to be very difficult for you. So
Yeah.
really be very realistic with what it is that you are trying to expect from people.
Yeah.
And then my second tip would be, expect the pushback. People are going to look at
Yes.
you in a new way, and they're
Yeah.
going to have questions. They are going to try to make you uncomfortable. They're going to
That's right.
try to push the limit. So
Yeah.
expect the pushback and already reside it within yourself. Like, this is going to be good for me, and this is ultimately going to be good for this relationship, and it's going to be
Right.
rocky.
Right.
Like you were even saying earlier, like, it takes a
Yeah.
long time to build a new habit.
It
So
does.
expect the pushback
Yeah.
in the midst of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
My third would be show grace. Like, show grace
Oh,
to people. Like,
yeah.
that is so important. Like, show grace to yourself and show grace
Yes.
to people. Like, it's a new habit for you and it's a new
Hmm.
habit for them. And so you
Yeah.
really have to, like, you're going to struggle. And sometimes you're going to mess up and you're going to be like, gosh darn it, I told myself I was not going to answer this
Yeah.
phone. And I did
Yeah.
because I care for them. That
Yeah.
is okay. Show
Yeah.
grace to yourself. Like, and if it makes you feel better, have a conversation and be like, I know I said I wasn't going to answer the phone, but this is new for
Yeah.
me too. And I'm
Right.
sorry that I did that. And I know that that is really confusing for you. So I
Yeah.
really want to make sure that I'm really doing right. But it's a struggle for me too. So show grace
Yeah.
to yourself, like, as you do that.
Yeah.
So those would be
Yeah.
my top three. What are yours?
Okay. I think my top three would be definitely be assertive.
Mhm.
Communicate your feelings openly and clearly without attacking another person. Like we were saying, don't look at the other person as the enemy. Because the minute you do that, that's how you're going to think, that's how you're going to feel, and that's what you're going to portray, that they're the enemy. So
Mhm.
just really work on being assertive and just
Yeah.
clearly communicating whatever it is that you need. And then the
Mhm.
second one, I would say be calm. Be calm and identify what areas you need limits.
Mhm.
We all need them, but be calm in that. And I think
Yeah.
that goes back to being assertive and, seeing them as the enemy. Because the minute you
Mhm.
do that, it's
Mhm.
we about to fight.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then my last one would be consistent in
Mhm.
upholding your boundaries and repeat them if
Mhm.
needed. Like give yourself a limit.
Keep it on
I'm gonna
repeat.
repeat myself 3 times. 3 times. And after the third
Then,
time, there's a consequence,
cause,
honey.
cause you hear me.
There is a consequence. So be
Mhm.
consistent. You have to be
Yeah.
consistent. That's
Yeah.
your job. It's not the other person's job to be consistent. It's their job
Mhm.
to hear you and work on
Mhm.
following through, but it's your job to be
Mhm.
consistent. And I've had so
Yeah.
many clients that have told me like that's the part that they need to work on, being consistent. They just feel like if I say
Mhm.
the boundary once that they're supposed
Mhm.
to, but
Mhm.
habit, they're learning a new
Mhm.
habit, just like you are learning a
Mhm.
new habit.
Mhm.
So be consistent. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm.
For sure. For sure. So, before we wrap up, we want you guys to work on everything that we told you, right? And if you have to put us on
Yes.
repeat to be like, what was that part? What was that? Listen to us again and again and again and again until you
Yes.
get that assertiveness. And it takes time. It takes time to establish these boundaries. So we're not expecting after like an hour that you're gonna have it like that. No, you're not gonna have that. So be grateful with yourself. But our call to action, and we would love to hear from you guys, are what boundaries
Yes.
are you going to be setting in place around the holidays? So
Yes.
hit us up and let us know what you're going to be
Yes.
doing. We are dropping new episodes every Friday. So we
Yes.
are going to be talking about all of the really great things that you can be doing in your
Yes.
relationships, with your mind, with your emotional health. And although we are licensed therapists, please, if you are ever in
Yes.
danger or you need assistance, please call 911 or
Yeah.
seek mental health counselors within your area. There are so many great options virtually.
Yeah.
And take care of yourself. Drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive.
Yes. Please. And if you're
We are
not
at our
into
home.
drinking, get you a mocktail.
Get you a mocktail. And we are going to
Yes.
be dropping all of our recipes. I was only drinking some Black Girl Magic Rose today. But that would be something that we can drop in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And another way that you can get in contact with us, if you have any questions, personal questions, you can reach us on Instagram at Two Therapists Pod, or you can email us at twotherapistpod@gmail.com. So definitely reach out, and we want to hear your answers to our call to action.
So take care of yourself. See y'all.